Hey there, welcome to the Hot Slice Podcast. This is the podcast brought to you by Pizza Today magazine. I am your host, Denise Greer, editor-in-chief of Pizza Today. I keep wanting to say executive editor, even though I have been editor-in-chief in a while. It's so silly. Anyway, I am joined by Kate Lavin, our senior editor. Hello, Kate.
Hello, Denise.
Hello. So let's see here. What haven't we talked about since, well, I went to NRA, not that NRA, National Restaurant Association show. And it was so much fun. But my favorite thing was visiting pizzerias. And I got to tell you, because I'm a Chicago thin girl, I tried some different tavern pizzas than I've ever had, and it was really, really good. It was like really fun. So the one thing I'll say to people is if you get a chance to pizza travel and just travel, visit as many pizzerias as you can, you're going to learn so much. I came away and I just have notes and notes of like story ideas and cool things that operations are doing. And it's just so powerful to get in shops and talk to people.
Absolutely. Our guest on today's podcast actually traveled to Naples to learn about pizza making from the home of pizza. His name is Joe Powers. He's the owner and lead pizzaiolo at Jay's Artisan Pizza in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, and Jay's has such a great reputation. I mean, Jay's, they're always in that running in the top 50 pizza. And in fact, that ranking just came out. And so it was really, he's a great conversation. He was so fun to talk to. I just love the energy he's bringing to the business.
Absolutely. And I also really enjoyed hearing about how the wood behaves differently in the oven in Buffalo, New York, depending on whether it's the summer, whether it's the winter, and how he has to change things up related to that.
I could see that. I've been to Buffalo, and let me tell you, I mean, those Buffalo winters are there's some legit, but there's some legit winters. So I can see that being the case and the wood being different. I know that, like, I'm a geek about firewood and for like my fire because I cook a lot on my campfires. And so I am a dry kiln girl. Like I will go and get and make sure that it's been in the businesses and I won't touch any, like never buy it from like the gas stations with the wood sitting out. I'm like, never, never. Because wood is you have to be just meticulous about that wood when you cook on wood.
For sure, especially if you are trying to create consistency at your pizzeria and produce something that you can replicate every night.
Absolutely.
Well, shall we hear what Joe has to say?
Let's just jump right in.
All right.
Are you looking for smarter ways to improve consistency, efficiency, and bake quality in your pizza operation? Spokane Valley, Washington-based Lloyd Pans is the trusted name for commercial pizzerias and home chefs alike. For over 40 years, Lloyd Pans has been creating innovative pizza pans and tools designed to deliver perfect results every time. Whether it's crispy golden pizza crusts or perfectly baked pastries, Lloyd Pan's durable, stick-resistant, and proprietary pan finishes are a game changer. Going beyond pizza, visit lloydpans.com to explore our lineup of food service and bakeware pans and accessories. Need shipping quotes or custom products? Email sales@lloydpans.com for personalized service. Are you looking to get your brand in front of passionate pizza pros? Well, you've come to the right place. The Hot Slice Podcast brought to you by Pizza Today. We're all about everything pizza business. Each week, we dive into fun conversations about trends, tasty tips, and insider stories from the pizza world. Our listeners are engaged and eager to discover what's new and improve their craft with help from brands like you. Imagine your brand reaching pizzeria owners and pizza enthusiasts while they enjoy our laid-back chats. It's a perfect match. Whether you're selling equipment, ingredients, or anything that makes pizza better, our ad spots are designed to connect you with the right audience. So if you're ready to slice into something special, reach out to us about advertising on the Hot Slice Podcast. Let's share the love of pizza together.
All right, Joe, thanks for joining us on the Hot Slice.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. I understand that you were a big fan of Jay's Artisan Pizza even before you started working there. But how old were you when you started working at Jay's?
Oh, I think it was like 19. It was my first year going to college. The first time I had the pizza was actually at a Bills game. I think it was Jay's like second, maybe like week or second event he ever did. Me and my dad walked up to the truck and we got the pizza. We're like, oh, this is really good. So after that, we kind of started to seek out like kind of the best pizza. We would travel to New York a lot, so we're like, oh, where should we go next? Where should we go? And then we're like, wow, like Jay makes really good pizza. So the first time I had his pizza was actually at a Bills game. Like, yeah, it had to have been 11 years ago, 12 years ago now, I think. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Were you into Neapolitan pizza before that?
No, I had no idea what it was. I was probably in high school at the time, no cooking experience whatsoever. Maybe can make like an egg on the stove, but I had no idea what Neapolitan pizza was. I just knew that this is really good pizza. So that's what I was like, wow, this is really good. And it comes out of an oven that's like all wood, and it was like, whoa, that's really interesting. So that's kind of how I got my introduction to Neapolitan pizza.
That's
How
so
hard
interesting.
how hard was it really to like to learn the Neapolitan style? And especially I think about the oven work and what it
Mhm.
takes to understand how the bake plays into everything.
Right.
You know,
No, it's definitely tricky at first, but once you kind of understand, I would say that the pizza gives you indicators on, oh, maybe my oven's too hot, maybe my oven's too cold. You could kind of look at the pizza. Did the crust puff up? Am I getting the leoparding? Different things are an indicator on how you, I guess, cook the pizza. So once you start learning how to kind of like read and what's going on with the pizza, you could kind of get a quicker grasp to it. But saying that, not every piece of wood is the exact same. And especially in Buffalo, like the wood in the winter is way different than the wood in the summer because when
yeah.
it's negative 10 degrees out and it's snowing, the wood is obviously going to be different than now when the weather gets nice out. But kind of it was definitely a little bit of a learning curve, but I was kind of like obsessed with making like a perfect pizza that
Yeah,
I was so into it and learning how to do it. So I think that shortened the learning curve a little bit too.
it's awesome.
I've never heard anyone mention that about the wood changing. Do you have to be thoughtful about where you store it?
So we store it inside the restaurant. I think we have the room for it, fortunately. So,
Wow. That's pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah, exactly. So like every 2 weeks we get about a phase quart of wood delivered, which if you think of uh an F-150 pickup bed with
Mhm.
4 rows of wood going from the front to the back, that's pretty
Yeah.
much what we go through every 2 weeks. So yeah, definitely in the winter, it's a little tricky unloading it, but once the good weather comes around, it's a lot better.
I definitely have seen that with like being very meticulous about where your wood is stored and actually
Mhm.
what you're using and how you're
Right.
using it. I know in other applications that I use, I'm like, no, I'll only touch dried kilned wood. I'm not
Yeah.
touching anything else, you know? So,
Right. No, I mean we've been using even Jay. We use the same guy. He splits it smaller for us, so we get
mhm.
smaller pieces that rekindle in the oven fast, so we can burn it at a really dry and hot temperature. Perfect for Neapolitan pizza. He really is an artisan in his own. Even Mike, who gets our wood for us. So we use whatever he has available, whether it's ash, red oak, beech, whatever's available, we work with it. So he does a really great job for us.
Do you notice a difference depending on which variety of wood you're using?
Definitely not. the variety, but you can definitely throughout the year in the seasons, you can definitely tell. Now in the summer, we can pull back a little bit on how much we feed the oven, just because it's going to hold its temperature because the wood is drier now than it is in the winter. But I don't see too much of a difference in types of wood more seasonally how the wood is very meticulous, but it's very important of the whole process because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, the oven does burn just on wood. So
Cool. And I understand that you went to Naples to take a course in Neapolitan pizza making. How did that come about?
yeah, so I was in like the second year, about I think yeah, my sec maybe the first and a half year of my college, of going to college, and I was like, I don't really. I was going for hospitality, so I kind of do what I was going to school for, but I'm like, wow, I'm really interested in learning how to make pizza.
Yeah.
And for the first year at the restaurant, I took orders at the counter. I didn't even work in the kitchen quite
Yeah.
yet, and I would just watch Jay make pizza. I was like, wow, this is like kind of cool. I think this looks really interesting to me. So one day I was like, hey, can you teach me how to make pizza? And he's like, sure. So on Mondays, the days that were closed, he would make a batch of dough. I'd come in, stretch the pizza, and cook it, and that's how I started to learn. And then I said to him, I'm like really into this. Like, what should I do to take it to
Yeah.
the next level? And he was like, I didn't know about it at the time, but there's a pizza school in Naples, they'll teach you how to make Neapolitan pizza and all that. Here's the website. Went to the website and watched their YouTube video that they put out, and I was like, okay, this is like what I want to do. So a couple weeks later, I booked my flight, and then in May of 2019, that's when I went to the pizza school, and I went for about two weeks it was. And it was nice because I had a little bit of a baseline on how to make pizza from learning from Jay and everything at the restaurant, and
Hmm.
then going to Naples like really kind of sped up the process with technique and everything about Neapolitan pizza. That was like really when I came back, I was like, all right, this is I didn't think it would get to this point, but I was like, okay, I know I want to make pizza. So that's
Yeah.
how it all pretty much came about.
Would,
I'm gonna
was it at all in your mind when you went to Naples that you would eventually end up taking over Jay's?
No, not at all. I was just going, it was just something that I was like really passionate about. No thought in my mind whatsoever, that I would end up owning the restaurant one day. Um, but I was just really passionate about Neapolitan pizza and just the technique, the history about it, and everything that has to do with Neapolitan pizza, I really gravitated towards for whatever reason. I don't even know a specific reason why. I was just like, this is cool. I'm creating something. I'm using my hands. And I thought that it was really interesting and really cool.
I think that's the like when you have that thirst for knowledge, of course, as an employer, you're like, oh, they have this thirst for knowledge. We're going to feed it and feed it and feed it. And
Hmm.
here it's turned into you becoming an owner, becoming. So I'm curious about that transition
Hmm.
from employee to owner and how that transpired.
It's it's so different. And at the beginning, um, there was I would say a honeymoon phase, and wow, this is really cool, this is really great. And then all of a sudden kind of reality snaps in. And it's like, okay, like now you have to, not that it wasn't a hobby by any means, but you turn it into a
Hmm.
job, I guess if I can say that. But it was such a even now, I don't know everything that there is to know about owning a business and stuff like that. So I really kind of lean on some people who have like mentored me over the past couple years. And I took over the restaurant, I think in 20 November of 2020, right before the new year.
Hmm.
And it's been such a learning experience. A great one on, learning things about myself, and then how I also want to manage people while also being creative in what we do at the restaurant, and just, holding the expectation of what was always there. The restaurant was always great. We always made great pizza. At the start, it was like, okay, don't screw this up. And then once I got a little bit more confidence in myself, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of my own touch here and a own touch there, and kind of be creative through the pizza and how we do things. So it's really been a learning experience, and I'm still learning, and it was a really interesting and different change, but it was really cool, and it's been really fun.
I'm kind of doing the math in my head. Were you still in college when you took over, Jace?
No, I was out of college. I think I was 22 at the time, and I turned 28
Wow.
in February. So
Wow.
at that young, you're like dumb and you don't really know. I
Yeah.
like in my head, I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to fail. I don't want to do this. It was just kind of like, all right, keep keep doing what you're doing, and you'll be okay. So that's kind of what I thought about, when I was a little bit younger. So yeah, it was a really interesting learning experience being that young. Thankfully I had like no fear in it. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and this is what it's gonna be.
That's awesome. You know what I think about is I think about the fact that the average pizzeria owner is Gen X. They're
Mhm.
they're 40, 47, 46, 47 years old. And you are a Gen Z owner.
Mhm.
And so I'm curious, what do you think that you can usher into ownership that maybe didn't exist before or wasn't really there in those previous generations? Because I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, I think it just has to do with kind of your style of how you want to run things in a way. I'm not
Hmm.
like a rah-rah type of person. I try to lead by example, and I was kind of always like that. Also, even though I am young and a lot of my staff is older than me,
Hmm.
it's it's just about being confident in your decisions, and also like I said earlier, leaning on some people that have that experience, and I'm always talking to the people that I can trust and that I value their opinion. And hey, how should I do this? How should I do that? I take some of their recommendations, but sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna put my spin on it, and if it doesn't work, okay, I learned a lesson, and then that's where I can improve. I'm not perfect every day, but I think
Yeah.
that just your managerial style is kind of where you can show your creativity,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's a little bit daunting at first, but once you get that confidence in yourself and what you can do, I think the sky's the limit.
I love that. What are some areas where you felt like you could use some improvement, and how did you find those mentors?
Yeah, I think there's one person that I work with really closely, and his name is Idolo. He works for a local uh, food supplier, but he also imports a lot of products from Italy, and we pretty much only exclusively use him. I'm honestly surprised he hasn't called me today, because I think we talk to each other on the phone like 3 or 4 times a day. It's like insane.
Oh,
I,
that's
I talk to him
awesome.
more than I talk to anybody else. I see him more than I see anybody else, but he's really the one person that I lean on in all situations. It's call him on the phone. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this with the pizza. What do you think? What can work? Also, hey, the plumbing is backing up. Do you know anybody? So it's like all encompassing person that I can call and really lean on when I need him. And hey, do you think this will work? Or hey, do you think you can source this from this place? I mean, normally every year, I'll spend a day at the fancy food show in New York, and he
Yeah.
visits some of the people that he works with, and then I'm like, okay, I'm looking for this product, and this product, and then we'll kind of go around and make
Hmm.
introductions, and that's kind of how our relationship is, and it's really great. And that's pretty much the main person that I lean on all the
Hmm.
time, not only creating pizzas, but different problems too.
You had mentioned that you kind of were able to put your own spin on the pizza, and I know that Jay's has been, at the top tier when we think of, pizzerias in the US and even around the world,
Mhm.
that are making names for their pizza. Jay's has always been up there. Um, what have you brought to the pizza?
Yeah, no. So I love Neapolitan pizza. We also do Detroit style square
Hmm.
pizza where we can be a little bit more
Yum.
creative. Like, yeah, we've done like French onion soup square. So
What?
we topped it with gruyere, and then the onions baked it, and then when it came out, we served it with a side of like the soup broth, and then we would torch the cheese on the top of the square, so it kind of looked like as if it was like a melted, cheese on a French onion soup. And even with the Neapolitan pizza, I know I'm like kind of classically trained in making Neapolitan pizza, and
Hmm.
we do some of the obviously the margarita, the Regina margarita and things like
Hmm.
that, but I also like to kind of do different pizzas, I guess, if you will. Like the one year or last year we got really, really beautiful melons from Italy, and so we made a puree out of the melons, and then we topped it with some chopped Castelfranco radicchio. So it was kind
Oh,
of like a
wow.
sweet and bitter, and finished it with some fresh mint. So we do the
What kind of
margarita, but we
cheese
also
did you use on that pizza? I'm just
we
curious because
we
the
actually didn't
flavors.
use we didn't use any cheese on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
That's
was it
cool.
was it was really interesting. We're like, oh, these melons are really good, so let's try it on a pizza and see how it comes out. So that's kind of, when I think of a pizza, it's more like a blank canvas, and then how
Hmm.
can we make something work? Honestly, I think anything can work on a pizza if it's used in the right application. So it's kind of fair
Hmm.
game. But yeah, like I said, we do the margarita, but we also will do something kind of like that. So I just like being creative, and kind of what's on the menu is what I like to eat. What's on our wine list is what I like to drink. So that's kind of
Sure.
how we kind of work things, and it's a group effort, and coming up with new pizzas, and being able to be creative as a group.
Hmm.
Did
Now
you
that
bring
you,
in, oh, sorry.
oh, sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you bring in the Detroit style? Is that something you were doing under
No.
the,
Yeah, that was under Jay. I remember we started doing it regularly, like right after I got back from Naples. So we kind of introduced that, and that's been really great because they're two polar opposite styles of pizza. Like one is cooked in 60 seconds, and the textures are just different. The other one is cooked for whatever 10 to 15 minutes in a pan, a little bit more of a thicker dough, and things like that. So I think it's a good complement to each other, and it's two really good styles of pizza, because
Hmm.
it's not just a pizza that you can throw into a pan. Like we take really great care and attention to what we use and how we use it on the square pizzas, also just like the Neapolitan pizza.
On the squares, you're using a deck oven, correct? Are you,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
yeah, and a deck oven too. So it's two completely different bakes, two completely different doughs. So it's cool to kind of express ourselves in both ways.
Yeah. Well, your kitchen must be a pretty good size to be
It
able to
actually, it
accommodate
actually,
those.
it isn't.
No, I just say
On
master of making things fit like Tetris.
pretty much, yeah. It's like the most awkward, honestly, setup that you can probably imagine, but we make it work. So.
That's awesome.
what are some goals that you have for the future of Jace?
Yeah, I think just keeping it consistently good, even with all the lists that have come out. I think that I've really obsessed over where our ranking is and everything on the list. But now I'm more focused on just being better every day, and not only in the pizza, but for the people that I work with,
Hmm.
and not so much chasing the list, but just being consistently good, and not being I guess I would say like a one-off, like maybe last Tuesday we were really good, but this Thursday we were just okay. It's being consistent every day and being able to build something for the future and being consistent in what we do and like what we believe in. So that's the most important thing for me, not shooting to be number one in the US or number one in the world, just being consistent in what we do and holding the traditions, but also being able to push forward and creating new pizzas.
Well, I can't get you away from us without asking this
Hmm.
question, and that is, if you could think of an ideal combination for a pizza. I know you have
Hmm.
super creativity, and you're so talented with that. What is your perfect combination for a Neapolitan pizza?
For Neapolitan pizza,
Yeah, for a Neapolitan style. It doesn't necessarily have to be fall into the Neapolitan
right,
characteristics.
right. I think I'm a big bitter and smoky person.
Okay.
I never once was. As I've grown over the past couple years and have traveled, tried different things, and get inspiration from places that I've traveled. Bitter, bitter and smoky, bitter and sweet. I'm really into smoky and spicy. I think those
Yeah.
combinations really work well together, and I think a really underrated, I guess you could say topping. Um, I like to call it like a finisher on a pizza is any sort of like toasted nut actually I think is really good, like a
Yes.
pistachio or almond. I think it gives texture and like the crunch to a pizza, and I think it's really slept on
Hmm.
using any sort of nut on the pizza. So I really like to, sometimes I'm like, okay, I got to pull back a little bit on what we, and I don't want to use it on eating every single pizza, but I'm a really big fan of nuts on a pizza, or even a little lemon juice or lemon zest. I think like really helps bring the brightness out of a pizza if you're looking for that too.
Yeah. Oh, I love those. And I don't think people realize that, but when you roast the nut,
Hmm.
it brings a whole new dynamic to
Yeah,
nuts. I'm a firm fan of nuts.
me
Nuts as a
too.
finishing ingredient. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Me too.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. This was a really fun time. I really enjoyed learning all about Jay's Artisan Pizza.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This
Thanks.
was this was fun.
And
All right.
congrats on your top 50, by the way.
Yes.
Thank
Congrats
you.
on it. I
Yeah.
know that was recently published, so
Y-
awesome. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.